TUFF SHIFT. Hello, world, and welcome to another episode of TUFF SHIFT, the podcast where we unpack all that goes into surviving the job and living the dream. I am your host, Patrick Murtagh, and I want to welcome you back. Yeah, you didn't see that coming last week, did you? Another two-parter. Who would have thought that after my interview with Josh Bartier that I had to split into two parts because we just unpacked so much, and I was so happy to have my first two-parter that the immediate next interview I did would end up being a two-parter. But I'm not surprised because I adore Brady so much, and it has been years since we've seen each other. And as I mentioned in last week's episode, he is such a magical person. And if you know him in real life, if you were to meet him in real life, you would, and probably hearing it from last week's episode, you get the sense of how engaging he is. And so when you see him, it's just like no time has passed and it's so magical, but time has also passed and there's so much to catch up on. We haven't spoken like that in forever. And you're going to hear more of our opinions and hot takes and just more about his experience post hospitality and the things he's up to. I'm not going to spoil that. I am so happy to have had that opportunity to catch up with my friends. And again, I think that's another benefit of doing this podcast and having been blessed to work and to know and to meet so many incredible people that have become friends, that have become family, to be able to talk with them and to celebrate and uplift them. And that's what we're doing here on this show. And it is just, the world's a crazy place right now. The world is absolutely nuts. And, I have a lot of opinions on things that are going on, but I'm not smart enough. And this is not a dig at me, my intellect. But I don't think anyone is. There's so much going on. I'm not articulate enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not versed enough in all the things that are going on to be able to provide you with something meaningful, as opposed to just adding fuel to the fire, to your rage, to your anxiety. So it's moments like this that I realize something my friend Michael Guerin, who is a phenomenal musician who plays 5 nights a week down at the Roxy Hotel in New York City in Tribeca. I believe it's at 6 o'clock, Monday through Fridays until 8 o'clock. Go see him, have a drink, have a snack. Entertainment's free. He plays the best kind of music. He's a phenomenal person. He wrote Song of Singapore for all you New Yorkers and theater nerds who remember that show, and just such a wonderful human being. But he says, it is a blessing to be in the happy business. And the more I experience, the more I stay firm to pursuing my career in the arts, and the more that I experience in life, I realize what a blessing it is to be in the happy business for both parts. The happy business being entertainment. It's a blessing for ourselves because it is healing for us and a way for us to process things. And it's healing for other people who just need not a distraction, but maybe, yes, a distraction. It's not like multiple things can occur. You can care for what's going on in the world and you can need a timeout. And so doing this show and living through what we're living through, it is an honor, a blessing, and a privilege to be in the happy business, to be able to come to you and bring you some joy, some laughter, some cringy moments, and share these brilliant people with you. It is an honor and a blessing now more than ever. And with that being said, I want to talk about some people that I'm grateful for that are in the happy business. And they are podcasters if you ask me, they're my friends. They're my real friends, and I've never met them in real life. I don't actually know them. I'm connected with them virtually, but they are podcasters who really hooked me into podcasting. I had, been listening for podcasts as friends to shows and support them and all that. But I'd support and then it'd end and I'm like, okay. And I never really got into listening to podcasts as a hobby until they started their podcast, which is called Review that review. It is hosted by Trey Gerald and Chelsea Dawn. And I'm saying this because they took us by surprise last week on their 210th episode, where they announced that it was their final episode and that they were going to be closing that chapter on their podcast, which, as there's no false advertisement in the name, it's called Review That Review, and they take online reviews and they review them. They unpack them, they make fun of them, they shed light on them. Like they're the wildest things, like from beach balls to drain cleaners to, any kind of review, Amazon, anything, auto parts, anything you can imagine, any random thing that people shouldn't complain about but do. Grandmas who accidentally type in their birthday messages in the review section. And it's like just all the autocorrect errors you could imagine. And it's like the review is actually a grandma thinking she's filling out a birthday card. All these kinds of things. And I mean, this started in 2021. And at that point, it's kind of like came out of the what was that thing called? Oh yeah, global pandemic. And contrary to proper belief, when people were trying not to work and trying to stay home, I at that time was working 5 jobs. Yeah, to try and bounce back from everything that we experienced. I was a nanny, I was catering, I was working in a restaurant, I was doing my cabaret shows, and I was doing online ticket fulfillment. It's wherever there was a hole in my schedule, I would have 4 to 5 hour shifts of just doing online fulfillment for Today Tix, which is a wonderful service that gets you discounted tickets for Broadway shows and all over the nation. Today Tix. Try them today. Anyways, they're not sponsored, and they're no longer my employers. They were wonderful. But when I was doing that fulfillment, that this is around the time that they had launched this podcast, and I again don't know them personally in real life, even though they are friends in my head. But I know Trey's husband, David, from having run into each other all around the cabaret scene in New York City, being in lineups and all that, and just was like, okay, I'm gonna give this podcast a try, see what it's about, and I was hooked from episode 1. And I mean, like I said, the most outlandish reviews you can imagine, and to something where I would read these reviews and I would be like, this person is an asshole, and many times that was the conclusion. But they actually rated the reviews. They reviewed them, they dissected them, and then they rated them to see if they were useful, if they were helpful, if they were funny. So the rating wasn't necessarily one or all of those things. It could have been any of the combinations. If you're going to get 5 crowns for being hilarious but not useful, like it was amazing, and it was ever changing to the reviews at hand. But it was really also insightful because, again, things that I would have listened to and said, that person's an asshole, and probably is, they really like shed some light. Like, put yourself in this person's shoes. You get in your car, you're filling up your tank with the gas at the prices that it is now. You're spending money. You're expecting. They really brought a lot of humanity to the people behind the reviews. Probably more generous than these people deserve, but they were so thoughtful, and this is like what we're doing in this podcast, right? We're bringing humanity to the people behind the apron, and they were bringing humanity just for the sake of everybody is coming from somewhere. Everyone's got a reason why they're posting what they're posting, good, bad, or ugly, but to really give the full picture before they place judgment. The show is hilarious, and it's a shame that they just started doing their YouTube videos, because everyone's finding their way back to YouTube, because it is worth watching. And guess what? Just because the show is over, then that they're not making new episodes, it's still available. Wherever you're listening to podcasts, you can go see them on YouTube. And it's one of those things they mentioned in their final episode, like all their shows are kind of like timeless. Because, I mean, some of these reviews are from years ago, and crazy reviews will always be there for you to read. And these episodes are here for you to listen. So if you've worked in customer service, if you've been the victim of a bad review, if you've gotten good reviews, if you've wanted to submit a review, if you've come across a review and thought, what the hell is this person thinking? This is the podcast for you. So you can very much still support this show, which I am so grateful for getting me into this world of podcasting. And also, again, being in the happy business in that crazy time when I was working 5 jobs and just trying to stay afloat, trying to catch up, trying to pad my bank account back up from everything we experienced. They were sunshine in my day. They brought joy, they brought laughter, they brought entertainment, and yeah, a true blessing to be in the happy business. So congratulations to Trey Gerald and Chelsea Dawn for your 210 episodes and for doing your part to make this world a better place and making our tough shifts a little more bearable. I want to thank you. So go support this podcast. You can still listen. You can follow them on Instagram at The Review Queens. And then you can follow them personally. You can follow Trey Gerald. That's Trey, Trey, Gerald, Gerrald. There's 2 R's because it's Pride Month and gays are extra. So of course there's going to be an extra R. And he's adorable and hilarious. He's done. I want them both to come on the show, and God willing, they both will. He's done. He has a resume. He has a resume. Just someone to aspire to. He is so entertaining and so lovely and so talented. Go support him. Chelsea Dawn is Chelsea YBD. Oh no, the Y is part of Chelsea, right? Jesus fucking Christ. It's at CHELSEYBD. Follow her. She's hilarious. She's a stand-up comedian, and now that she's has a little more time on her hands, she's gonna spend a little more time in stand-up comedy, and she's out here in LA, and I can't wait to see her. I can't wait to have her on the show. And yeah, congratulations, you two. You did an amazing job, and just thank you. That's it. All right, now that I've given moments of gratitude and praise, time to get back to bitching, right? Because we left off, because I ran out of time, because I talked too much, as I usually do, about the woes of Service Bar. And I got through pretty much everything I needed to say about dealing with waiters in Service Bar, being the service bartender, and having to deal with all the joys that come with working with waiters who are so self-absorbed and don't care that you're busy too. So now we're going to unpack about customers, right? And the special place in hell there is for customers who see a completely open bar, who see a bartender who's service facing, he's doing all the bar tops. He's there for you. But no, you find your way to the busiest person, the person who has 10 tickets in front of them, shaking drinks, head down, throwing stuff up, garnishing. You find your way to them. And you don't even wait for them to look you in the eye. You don't respond. You just projectile vomit all your words at them. You don't wait for a connect. You're just like, hey, how's it going? And they just like assault you with conversation. And it's like, I didn't say talk to me. And it's like, but you work in hospitality. Like, yes, but I'm doing something. I'm working in hospitality. I'm making drinks. And it's like, wait for people to connect with you, right? If someone were to come to you on the street and just start in with a full-on conversation out of nowhere without saying hello, how, what, and all the niceties, which I also hate niceties in restaurants. Like, let's just get to the fucking point. It's a bit unnerving. And I'm busy. I'm making things. I would be happy to talk to you, and I am happy to talk to you. But like, give me a moment. Let me say hi, welcome to, and wait your turn. Right? Let's kind of read the room, read the situation, and be observant of what's going on around us. So if somebody looks busy, they probably are, right? Right? Yeah, that makes sense. That makes total sense. And so you come in and you just start bombarding me with questions about, oh, what kind of a food is here? The menu is literally in front of you. I stopped what I was doing to give you menu, said, let me just finish these drinks. I'll be right with you. That's not enough. You still got to continue. Okay, that sounds great. Don't worry. We'll wait. And then you don't. Then you just continue to go in about, oh, this place used to be a Mexican restaurant. And oh, I used to love this. And oh, blah, blah, blah. And have you ever heard of this? And it's like, please shut the fuck up or move to the end of the bar. Oh, sorry. Is it okay that I swear? I think I've already done it like 20 times. And I promise you, I'm a nice person. I actually do love certain things about hospitality and connecting with people, but I just want customers to be a little more thoughtful and aware, because again, me bitching is one, to bitch and get it off my chest, but it's also to kind of like provide you with a better experience, to give you the tools you need to have the best experience you can have with your bartender, with your waiter, with the host, with the manager, with the chef. Should the chef be visible and you say something like, let's just like, let's read the room, let's wait to be acknowledged, and then let's engage in conversation as it naturally occurs. Let's not try and have the whole conversation in one sentence, right? Because that's overwhelming. And I have, again, 10 tickets in front of me with 25 different garnishes to match your 25 fake allergies that you're about to tell me about. So like, can we just like slow it down? Can we please just slow it down, wait to be acknowledged, and wait for me to look up, wait for me to not look busy, or don't come to the service bar. All right. And that's the thing about sitting at a bar. It's part of the experience. Like, you're front row, you get to see the action, but this isn't Yiddish theater. This isn't interactive. I don't need you yelling at the stage. I don't need you trying to get involved when I'm busy. I'd be happy if there's a moment for me to explain what I'm doing. You know, people love to say, "How do you memorize so many drinks?" Well, let me tell you, Becky, when you know the five basic cocktails, I love talking about the education and the history and how you build up your vocabulary in this. We can talk about that, but like, let's dose it out, right? Like, come see the show, but it's spectator only. Like, you're there to observe and to watch. And when I let you in, then you can come in. Then you can come in and we can talk. When I acknowledge, like, hey, here's a great place for your question. But what always happens is this happened literally the other night. I'm making these drinks and the guy's like, "Wow, what's that? Wow, what's that?" It's a fucking drink. It's a goddamn drink. Again, I'm spitting these out. I'll get to you. I'll ask, but like, let's save our questions for when it looks like I'm not wanting to cry and to break down. Like, let's save our questions. And he just keeps talking at me, and it's like, I'm not giving you a cue that I'm in a place to continue this conversation. And he just that doesn't stop him, and he's like, "You should really narrate as you go along so I know what you're doing." What the fuck? should I should I stop what I'm doing to narrate for you? And I was very nice about that. And I was like, oh, if I did that, then these drinks would never get made, and it'd be good for you, but bad for the people waiting for these drinks, right? That was not enough. He just kept going and kept asking questions, and finally, his wife was like, "Just leave him alone. You're really bothering him." And I was like, "Oh, no, it's not a bother." And she goes, "You have to say that. You have to say that, and you have to smile even when people are bothering you." I was like, "Oh, no, truly, it's no bother because I have to say that." And she goes, "I'm a bartender at the airport. I know exactly what you're going through right now." And I was like, "The fuck? You are a bartender at the airport and you haven't shut your husband up yet?" God bless you. But after that, after we got that bartending thing down, her husband was a little more well behaved, and it made me want to talk with her more. And we shared some woes. She's really great, and she invited me next time I'm traveling to swing by her bar, and she'll hook me up. So, at the end of the day, her husband wasn't that annoying. No, he was, but I want a free drink. Anyways, God damn it! How is it already? How I've been talking this much, and I only got through like one point. Anyways, uh, that's it. No, that's not it. Before I move on, uh, do not put your dirty dishes, do not put your napkins in my workspace. And that's the thing. When you're at the bar, you're trapped. I have nowhere to hide. And there's all this room that you think is yours. Because again, you don't realize that restaurants, like life, are a shared experience. That just because there is a space available, that hold on to your plates. I will get to them as soon as I can. I promise you, I will take your nasty napkin. I will take your forks. But again, you chose to sit at the service bar. The busiest bartender in a restaurant is at service bar, and you chose to sit there. If you don't know what service bar is, where all the waiters are going to pick up their drinks for the restaurant, that's service bar. When that person is just that nonstop working, shaking drinks, pouring wines, this and that, that's service bar. It looks busy because it is. And you chose to sit there. You want the show, that's wonderful, but you got to wait a little bit, right? So it's not an invitation. Medium busy is not an invitation for you to take your dirty plates. Again, and in general, whether you're at a table, at a bar, anywhere, don't stack your fucking plates. Don't stack your fucking plates. It is not helpful because you don't know what you're doing. You don't. It is teeter-tottering. It is a Tower of Babel. It is Jenga. It is dangerous. And I need you to stop doing that. Just say, oh, do you mind getting these when you have a chance? And I'll say, of course. In my head, I'm like, yeah, no fucking shit, Sherlock. But outwardly, I'll say, of course. I acknowledge that you don't understand that I see you, because if I don't say that I see you, then yeah, so over communicate. That's wonderful. I'll get these out of the way. But the other day, this guy just took his nasty napkin and threw it onto the area where I had drinks at the service bar that were going out to the floor, and then proceeded to put his plates in that area designated for servers. Sir, you want me to put you? I don't know. I don't know you. I don't know you and how nasty or not nasty you are, but putting your dirt stuff that has touched your mouth, your face, your mocos, all that mocos, I tried, I don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. You're going to put that next to clean things that are going out. You're going to put that on top of my tools that I have to use to make clean drinks. Let's just really slow it down at service bar, guys. All right. If I'm supposed to treat you like you're a guest in my home, I don't let people get away with that in my home. All right. So we're going to have manners, and we're going to be clean, and we're going to be respectful of your space, my space, and everyone around's space. I have so much more to go into, but that's the joy of having this podcast. We can always continue this conversation later. Right now, I want to get back to part 2 of our episode with Brady Cudmore, whose name I mispronounced in last week's introduction. And I'm like, yeah, I've known, he's my friend forever. And I mispronounced his name. Anyways, just a little recap. He is a singer and a songwriter. He plays all kinds of instruments. He has such a beautiful soul, such a thoughtful, magical human being. He has performed all over New York City in places like Carnegie Hall. He's performed up at the Cape Conservatory. He's performed with the Alvin Ailey American Dance Theater, the Chain Theater. He has music streaming and available for purchase wherever you download, stream your music from. He's done film, TV, commercials, theater, and dance. This is the notes I have. With a heart of gold and a voice like butter, we're going to get back to Brady. But before we do, I just want to let you know, we're going to go back a few minutes, just like we did with Josh, and we're going to get the introduction to the story you're about to hear, because where we left last time, Brady shared that he got a spicy tip from a customer one time, and he looked down and there was a jock strap. What? I need to stop talking, and we need to get back to this episode. Thank you so much for listening to me rant as I'm schwitzing here because in LA it is hot. I love you guys. I love Brady, and I am so happy that you get to hear more about him. All right. See you guys on the other side. I
Yeah,
want to unpack a little more about working at Julius,
yeah,
and want to talk about bar regulars, want to talk about this and that. But working in a gay space is like,
yeah.
wow, that's wonderful. That's like beautiful. Because I went and saw you. Actually, we'll kind of go all over the place. Because not only were you bartending there, but you also performed.
I did. Yeah, I had my own show called Tune Up Tuesdays every second Tuesday
Yeah,
for
and
about 2 years. Yeah.
it was so cool because, like, I mean, the aesthetic of Julius is my kind of bar, like dark wood paneling, divey, like I think it was cash only. Like I don't like that part. But but I do, it's like such a great dive bar, and it reminds me a lot of the old school Ninth Avenue Saloon. The new one is great, but the old Ninth Avenue Saloon, where it was like there's twink bars, there's bear bars, there's this and that. But at Julius, it felt like this is everybody. This is
It is
everybody,
everybody.
and it's not just your poster child, New York gay twink, whatever, or leather daddy, or there's it's all of them. It's all of us. It's
Yeah.
everybody in between. So it's a really cool place. And you got to like perform there. and do so much. But what was the best part for you about working in a queer space?
I have never felt safer. I think it was kind of amazing because I not only was working at Julius, but then word had got around for a few years in the West Village about me, like me, I don't know why. It was like, and it wasn't like, who's he slept with now? It wasn't one of those. It was just like, Brady's that cute little bartender guy that kind of hops around the village. He's working at these different places. And there was an opening at Cubbyhole as well, which is also one of the safest and most beautiful queer spaces in Manhattan. Attracts not only lesbians but just queer folks of all kinds, and that's really what Tanya wanted. Was she wanted a neighborhood bar, and she wanted it to be for everyone. Of course, queer centric, but everyone. And so when you couple those two spaces with these incredible owners, like with Helen and with Tanya moving to Lisa, they curated a space that was so protected and so safe for everyone. And you'll typically, I mean, you'll see some of the stories in New York Times and stuff from some of the bars that shut down with owners that don't necessarily do good business. These folks were really in it for the people.
Mm,
Anything that the community needed, like they were there, and they're constantly generous. They're constantly giving back, whether it's helping, you know, foster dogs, or whether it's donating to, like AIDS Memorial, other types of very important parts of queer culture. And the cool part is that everyone of all demographic got along. And if they didn't get along, you were out.
yeah.
You know, it was just like that. It was like, we're here, we're all here together, we're all one giant family. And the parties were super cool that we would throw, like the monthly parties and whatnot. And you would just see that everybody got along, and it was incredible, honestly. Um, when I had my Tune Up Tuesday show, it was incredible too because I also was working at Cubbyhole, and I would sing there too, but just over the microphone when I'm bartending, like a couple of songs here and there. It was a new thing we were doing, but I take the lesbians over to Julius, and I take the queers from Julius over to to Cubbyhole, and it was
Yeah.
just like people would follow me around for my show, or they'd follow me around for like just to be in a different space, and it was the most proud I've ever felt to be a part of such a strong and beautiful community.
Yeah.
So that's my huge takeaway. Like my heart is always like filled from those experiences and the people that have touched me from that.
And that's not just, I mean, it's a sign of a good bartender, but it's also a sign of a great person because when bar regulars follow you, like
Yeah.
that's a big thing.
Yes.
And it speaks to both your talent and your person. Um, you might have already kind of answered a little bit around, but I want to like specifically ask this, and I want to ask this in the most respectful way, but since you already acknowledge that people are like, oh, Brady, he's a cute bartender. So, as the wonderful part about working in a gay space, feeling safe, all that, what was unpacking like within our community? You know, we we have our pitfalls.
Mm-hmm.
Being an objectively aesthetically pleasing person and type within the gay community, being a twink,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
what were some of like the guardrails you had to put up, or what were some of the experiences you had, and how did you take care of Brady in spaces where it's like maybe somebody's a little too overserved and they're crossing the line, or people's just bad behavior, thinking that like most gay men think like, oh, being a twink is an invitation for me to tell you, like same thing straight men do to women, like being a woman that's breathing is an invitation for you to come fuck with my day. Like what were
Yeah.
some of the things that happened to you that you feel comfortable sharing, and how did you kind of work around them? How did you put the kibosh on them? How did you squash it?
Okay, I love this question, and you did ask it so diplomatically. What do you do when somebody thinks you're hot? No, I'm kidding, totally kidding. But uh, um, I actually this is the weird part. I don't know what it is. Like, I actually thought this was so funny because the demographic for me, like, what I remember working my first day shift there, and I was warned. I'm like, they're not gonna like you. Like, I was one of my coworkers was like, they're really not gonna like you, because you're new and you're young, and they're not, and they're gonna just kind of pick at you. And he wasn't incorrect. They loved me at the end of it. They still ask about me, which I think is super sweet.
Oh,
Um, Yeah, it is sweet.
Where'd that
But
twink go?
yeah, I know I didn't like him at first, but I like him now. You know, um, and you know the way that I kind of approached it, I actually was hit on more when I was working at straight bars. Believe it or not, I
I
felt
believe
the
it.
men were a lot more. There were a lot more adventures that way. I always found that like they'd have a little bit too much, and then all of a sudden they would be like handsy or gropey, and I would be bartending by myself, and I'd have to close the bar by myself at one place in particular. Well, a couple of places in particular. They didn't really think I was hot when I was working. Like they were never into me,
Interesting.
really. Pardon?
I said interesting.
Yeah, like I mean, and I have like I know some guys like too. They'll be very specific about like mask for mask, or they just like want like somebody that does present more masculine. And I'm more of like a theater like a la bar, like I'm running around, I'm dancing behind the bar, and but I'm very assertive when it happens. Like I'm really good at being like, because I don't mind. I'm very handsy. I really am. I had somebody one time when I was bartending, I think it was at the street place, like they gave me a jock strap and like told me to take it. They wanted me to go home and take a picture and like show them. And I was like, and they grabbed my arm and I'm like, if you touch me one more time, I'm gonna break your arm. Like, so there is a little bit of that in me. Um, but I never found that they really hit on me at that bar. I found that I got hit on more at the lesbian bar and the street bars.
Interesting. Wow. The
I
jockstrap
know.
thing is wild because, like, to quote the great Shug Avery in the musical adaptation of Color Purple, ain't nothing wrong with nothing. That's right with both of you. But the key there is right with both of you. And sometimes in our community, like, we just assume that everyone is into the same stuff. We assume people are as adventurous or as not that is it's not adventurous, but like we assume we don't get consent.
Yep.
So I'm sure there was nothing you gave this person that was like, yes, please give me your used jockstrap and give me instructions to
Yep.
fucking put it like, and you'd be like, listen, I just got a tip for $400 for an online Zoom class. Like, if you want me to put on this jockstrap, I'll do it. But like, here's the price. Here's where we're starting. Like, don't assume that
Yeah.
I'm doing this out of my pleasure for you. And I'm sure that this asshole left you a perfectly mediocre tip. Because like when
It was so basic.
people that are like, take my number, da 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 da, and like, listen, like I'm not gonna say it happened to me all the time, but when it did, it was the most bizarre thing because people are like being really gross with you, and then like leave you $2 under 20% or leave you like $1 per drink, and it's like you're trying to get to my happy place? That no, baby. No, no, no.
No.
It is it is interesting. That's crazy. Well, I'm glad you had a completely safe experience
Yeah.
in the other spaces.
Yeah. And I was gonna add too, the funny part is like don't forget about this. I did keep the jock strap, of course. Duh.
Was it used or was it new?
It was new, I think, actually.
Okay.
I still actually have it to this day, and I still look at it, and I'm like, I mean, I still wear it. I don't take pictures for him, but I still wear it. It's mine.
Yeah, make it
Mama liked it,
like
so
it was
it's
nice.
Andrew
Yeah.
Christian. Yeah.
All
Um,
right.
yeah. But like that's the other thing too is like I am like a very easygoing person for the most part, especially, and like I'm very open. Like everybody knows I've dated so many people. Like, and I'm very open. I'm very exploratory. There's not a lot of space for limits for me. Like, I mean, of course, within respect to respecting each other.
Yeah.
But I am a very open like person that way. And I don't imagine I ever will. Like I've currently been seeing somebody a little bit right now, and we're taking it really slow. And I've just been like, they're a little bit more vanilla in some ways, and like I just kind of explicitly said to them too, and it was a great chat. I'm like, I said, and I'm just letting you know this is how I am. Like I'm very open, and I don't want to be, limiting either one of us. And it seems that they really appreciate that too. So,
The
um,
communication is priceless.
yeah,
And communicating with
yeah,
people, you'll find out like, oh, I was thinking the same thing, or oh, I had the same, and really, it leads for a more trustworthy relationship.
Yeah,
And more fulfilling for both people, that everyone is being taken care of, everyone is being above board and transparent. Like, that's really beautiful. And
yep,
especially like coming from New York, and you were at the buffet, and now you know what you like. And interestingly enough, not just like moving off from that, but like also talking about how you were like always out and about and jumping around and this and that in New York, and then now you're more like hermit in your home. Girl,
yeah, yeah.
I
Well,
it
and
was I loved New York, and that it was just like this charge, and it was like, I'm out, I have this energy to do all these things. And then when I moved to LA, and I have this cute little home that we rent and this cute little lifestyle, I don't need to be out. I don't want to be
no,
out. I want to be home on my couch in a caftan, like I said, with my fiance, my puppy,
me too.
and an ice cold Manhattan. That's
Yeah,
my dream. That's like, going out is like going out to the kitchen to
yeah,
refill the Manhattan and coming back to the couch. Like,
yeah,
it's amazing. So I think, well, let's wrap up on the restaurant life. And
yeah,
we kind of dipped our toes into your performing life
yeah.
with Julius, but like, let's talk about, you got this visa for extraordinary ability, I assume, for your talents. What was the process, and what were you doing in Canada as a performer that qualified you to come to America as a performer with that status?
Yeah, so oddly enough, I ended up getting I got a recording contract. I went to the Audio Engineering Society convention when I was 17. It was not even like I the way that I put it, like, you know, I wasn't really going for that. And I we were going because it was like I get to go see The Lion King on Broadway. And like I want to go see what Applebee's looks like, like that kind of thing, right? I,
Oh
no,
my God. And you're like, oh God, I wish I'd never seen what Applebee's look like.
the cute little buzzers, they were fun. We didn't have those at home. But I went to this convention. I bumped into a record producer, and I ended up recording a demo at their studio. And then I got a recording contract and moved there when I was 18. Recorded my first album, so I was there for the summer, and then we were able to, during that process, start working on getting all of that paperwork sorted. Um, and it was through the States, right? So it was actually in the States. In Canada, I didn't actually. I mean, I was in all the musicals and stuff like that, but and I was in bands and whatnot. But like, I didn't really do anything of that nature until I moved to New York. So it was all kind of fresh to me.
And where did that, within all that, so you come out here for the recording contract, you get the ball rolling there. Where did the acting come from?
I have been acting. I did my first musical, and by the way, something that very, very commonly happens with my name is that if they ever do a press release or something, they always get it really wrong somehow, which is great. In this case, my first role that I did was out in a very small, not very small area, but a rural area of PEI, which is Prince Edward Island. Everybody, just letting you know, that's where I'm currently residing. And anyway, needless to say, I played the Tin Man, and I was pretty decent. And I remember the article came out, and they're like, Barry Cudmore sure uh, is glad his skin isn't made of tin. And I was like, oh wow, they couldn't even get my name right. Like I was so
Like, who's
forgettable too
Barry?
growing up. Ooh, Barry, that was me. Um, but then I started doing musicals, and then I got a scholarship for a musical camp here on the island, and I mean, I just was like natural at it, I guess, and I was always playing the nerdy role, like the sidekick. Like they give me like a role that was a big singing role because there weren't a lot of guys that were singing theater. I started taking voice lessons for a period of time for about three years or so, and then that was pretty much it. And then I just kept doing it in the city, and I just never looked back. Theater was always something I loved.
That's amazing. And like I
Yeah.
said, like, you did, you kept the plate spinning, you kept hustling.
Yep.
What are some of the Hey there, just checking in. I hope you're enjoying this episode so far. And if you are, why not leave us a 5-star review and a comment or two wherever you're listening to this from? And don't forget to follow us on social media at TUFF SHIFT Podcast. That's TUFF Shift Podcast. Everywhere. Literally everywhere. And just a reminder, gratuity's not included, but tips are always welcome. And you can find our virtual tip jar at tuffshiftpodcast.com. That's TUFF shiftpodcast.com. All right, back to the show. Your more favorite gigs that you've
Oh my God.
had in New York City.
Okay, so this one's actually, so there's two. Obviously, performing for our show for Broadway Cares Equity Fights AIDS, we did two iterations of a production, an original production with this wonderful woman named Sasha Spielvogel. She's incredible.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about gay life from 1965 through 1995 in New York City, with multiple vignettes and theatrical pieces and songs. And it was like just a full theatrical experience that I had the wonderful honor of being a part of. I played 11 roles in the show. I was singing, dancing, well, I should say 11 tracks. Singing, dancing, acting, producing, um, arranging in one of the iterations, and then helping with casting a little bit too, kind of getting some feelers out for some performers for the second iteration. I was very heavily involved in that show, and it's always in my heart. It was called Come Back Once More So I Can Say Goodbye. So, judging by the title, as you can tell, is sad. Like it is a sad but beautiful story.
Mm-hmm.
And that one was great because I got my feet really wet in all of it. And the pay was wonderful. The people were wonderful. Like it forever made an impression. But my favorite, I still think, and this is so sweet, you did mention the Cape Cod Conservatory. I was working at an Italian restaurant. This is where the two kind of overlap. Uh, and before that, I got stuck in Canada for like 5 months because my passport was damaged and they didn't send me one back in time. So I had to wait and wait and wait. Um, but I got a job in the meantime, and it was at the Cape Cod Conservatory. And then they also wanted me to go back to the Italian restaurant when I came back. So I had to work 4 days a week at the restaurant and then go to Cape Cod for the weekend. And then I would come back on Sunday and then I would do it all over again. It was just, and I would do that for well, I don't know, I guess it was like a month and a half or so. So it was wonderful. The people were great. The show was super fun. Rock of Ages was amazing. Playing Franz was incredible. I loved that every time I came out on stage, people would immediately laugh. I didn't even have to do anything because it was so physical. It was a great experience. The people there are great too. But where this overlaps is that I was asked to go back to work for an event, and so I left early. So we moved our rehearsal so I could get back on a Sunday evening and just go straight to work. So my partner at the time picked me up from Cape Cod and then drove me back. So I get there, my boss looks at me, and he's super, super gay. I love him. He was great. And he goes, "Okay, Brady, so I'm so glad you're here. I know you don't typically work Sundays." He said, "but we have a very, very, very special guest." And I was like, "Oh, cool." And he looks at me and he's like, "He's in Daniel's section. However," he's like, "I want you to serve him." He's like, "So I want you to give him all of what you are. You're our A game, right?" And I'm like, "Oh, thank you. Thank you so much." And he has multiple Tony Awards. I'm not going to mention names. And he is actually quite famous. Anyway, I must have caught him on a bad day. I used to do this thing where I go up to people and be like, "Happy Sunday, how's it going?" Like, that would just be me, right? And I did the Happy Sunday thing. He took a look at me and and I said, I thought it was really funny and nice. And his partner said, "We'll just get this wine." And they were very, very, he wouldn't even look at me. They were both very dry. And I was like, "Oh, okay, well, I'll just go get them their wine." So I walk back over to get this carafe of wine. And my boss runs up to me. He goes, "Ooh, Brady." He's like, "Where's that going?" I said, "It's going to so-and-so's table that you want me to serve."
I thought you were going to slip and say their name.
No, I'm good. I'm good, aren't I? I'm like this. I'm like, I'm on it. Let's watch. I'll probably say it. Yeah. Anyway, he goes, "Ooh." He's like, "Actually," he's like, "I'm gonna get Daniel to take that over to him." And I was like, "Why?" And he looked at me. He's like, Well, so and so said that they just don't really feel to engage, and they don't want you to serve them. They want Daniel." And I was like, "You? How dare you?
Yeah.
Really, how very dare you?" So I I go to my section and they're all laughing with me, and I'm purposely doing it out of spite now. Like I'm just being funny with everybody in my section. I'm like, they all love me over here, and like I turn around and like give them a look. People were taking pictures with me at my table and everything, but I
You're
never
like, I'm the
forgot that.
celebrity here, all right?
Yeah, yeah. Like, and you know what? So what? You got a few Tonys. Leave it. Whatever.
Oh, I'm
I got
trying
a
to figure out.
section of 7.
I'm trying to figure out who this is because I know all the women that have Tonys, multiple Tonys, men who have multiple Tonys. I'm trying to think because I mean I've definitely waited on celebrities in New York, and not all of them are
Hmm.
created equal. Some that you think would be wonderful are not as wonderful. Some that you think would be miserable are actually just phenomenal people. And then there's the assholes that are the assholes. I'm still working on crafting my asshole story about the celebrity who physically accosted me in Sardis. Um,
Oh,
and I fucking hate him. Oh, I fucking hate him so much. So I just want to make sure that I craft it and cover all my bases. I'm not going to share the name, but I will tell the story. Um,
yeah,
yeah, fuck that person.
yeah. Well, and I have to be quite honest, I did, like, I had like a little bit of wine when I got home. And like, again, I was balancing a lot because I also was running a recording studio at the same time too. Little known fact, I do audio engineering as well, like with recording and programming and stuff like that. So I was kind of like doing the bookwork and stuff like that for that and bookings and then like the 4 days and then being in Cape Cod. Like, I don't know where I got all that energy from, but I did have it. But I had a little bit of wine and I decided to find this person on Instagram and then send them a little note. And I did. It was a little catty. And then I think I waited about an hour and then I deleted the note. I don't even think that they saw it. But still, I was just like, I was really nice to you and you were really rude. Like it was like one of those like, how dare you?
Yeah,
Um,
and like
yeah,
everyone's allowed to have a day.
yeah,
Everyone's allowed to have a day, but like you don't need to ruin my day with that. So like screw that person. Now
yeah.
let's talk about you, the songwriter, the busker, and all of that. Where did you get your inspiration for like writing songs and picking up the guitar?
Oh, my dad. My
Yeah.
dad he is so humble, but he is literally one of the best guitar players ever. Like
Mm.
he is insane. Like every time I play my guitar, I'm okay. I like to say I'm okay. I'm actually quite humble. I know that in some ways, but guitar is not like super like it's not something I'm super confident with, but it's great for songwriters. So
Mm.
like it's a great tool to accompany yourself and do covers and write and make songs. Drums are really my main instrument. Like I've been drumming for 23 years. Whoa. Um, so, but my inspiration actually just kind of started with the recording contract. I wrote some pretty funny songs when I first started. Like, I still look back on them and I'll listen to them and I'll be like, ooh, well, that was something. I think all artists are like that.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
oh, yeah, right. However, I kind of like moved forward and like I slowly developed my skills and I love writing. I'm actually, I am working in insurance now, right? Like I'm actually fully bilingual and in French and English, and I just got my contract. I'm super excited about that. Yay!
Nice.
Um, but I've always been very good linguistically. Like it's something that I've always had a passion for, etymology, things of that nature. I was a C- student at best in school, but any type of way that I could communicate with people verbally or even through music, it was something that is such a dear part of myself and my identity. Um, so that's kind of where that inspiration really does come from, and because of my dad. So yeah, and I like to like. I've been told before some of my songs like they sound really positive, but there's a lot of depth to them because I like to use very positive chords or positive sounding chords, so obviously majors and whatnot. But then there's like a darker undertone within the lyrics. You really have to like read and listen to them because I went through a lot of traumatic experiences and tried to find a way to share that in a way that kind of has a cadence of that moment in time for me, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
It's interesting because we talked about this on last week's episode with Josh Bartier, where he was talking about like check in on the people that are always smiling, check in on the people that seem happy. And I think it really speaks to that because, yes, as I describe you, you are a, a magical human being that brings so much light and joy into the people that are around you. But and to the point of your songs, they're like, wow, these really sound uplifting, and this sounds like, oh, happy chords. But like, just because I'm happy, and just because I have this sunny disposition, doesn't mean that I'm not a Disney character. I'm not I'm not made of taffy. Like, there's something under that, and that's something that I've cultivated for myself. And it's wonderful that that's out there for people to experience. Like, you can have whatever go on in your life, and to an extent, not that, you can choose happiness, but like, there is a bit of control that, like, yeah, this happened to me and this is what I'm going to make out of it. This is the
Hmm.
shit that I was given, and this is the garden that I grew.
Yeah,
Would you?
absolutely.
Right? And you are a gardener, right? So it's actually kind of perfect. You do have a garden, right?
I do, and it's funny because when I moved, a lot of people don't know this, but the neighborhood was a little interesting when I first moved in. I had to make some adjustments. This is my first time having my own studio. I've never lived by myself ever. I've always lived with people, which, as you can imagine, would probably not always be the best. So, um,
Yes.
I was able to find this wonderful apartment, and my landlords are so incredible to me. Like, when I moved in, they saw some of the things I was working on to help, as you can see, the renovations and whatnot. That's actually stuff of which I've done. I know it's kind of small on the screen, but there was a lot of work and love that I put into the apartment. And thanks to my landlords for saying, "Oh yeah, do it, go ahead. Like, this is your place." Like, they're so amazing. They really are. Right to the paint. I do a lot of painting now versus singing. I do like a lot of artwork, and I put up these beautiful little art displays that are quite simple. I completely refurbished, built a garden in the back. Was not like that when I first moved in, and now like, the cool part is with my wonderful neighbors I have upstairs. Like, we're going to be doing barbecues in the backyard, and like it's a little veranda, and it's just nice to have like a safe space for all of us to kind of just come together and for maybe for a drink or like whatever, and just like spend time enjoying Canadian summer since it only lasts for like 2 days. So
That makes me so happy. And like, really, like, my grandma Mary, an Irish woman ahead of her time, she came from like dirt. Like, she came from dirt farms in Ireland, and she moved to San Francisco, and she was like, again, so ahead of her time. Like, she loves the gays, and she's a walking historian about San Francisco, and she talks about the Castro before it was a Castro. It was an Irish neighborhood, and da 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 da. And she goes,
yeah.
and then the gays came in, and I was like, uh oh. And she goes, and they made everything better. And I was just like, oh my god, I fucking love it, because that's what they do. The
Yeah,
gays take care of their things. I'm like, Grandma,
yeah.
you're hilarious. And it was actually kind of funny because when I moved to New York and I would come back to visit, I would come back, and on Christmas, she'd be like, all right, well, we're getting together for breakfast. And like, the first time we did that tradition, like, get together for breakfast before I go back to New York, I was like, okay, I'm here. I go to pick her up at her cute little San Francisco townhouse. And she's 97, and she's still walking up and down those stairs. And I was like, where do you want to go? And she's like, well, we can go here, da 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 da. She goes, or we can go to the Cove in the Castro, which is like like, if it was like Queer as Folk, it was like that's the diner. That's the diner. That in North Andy's in the Castro. And I was like, you want to go to the Castro? Like, I have to say yes to this adventure. I want to say, because my grandma used to walk down
Yeah.
Twin Peaks to
Okay.
go to, like, just to go to this diner to be with her gays. And I'm just like sitting there,
Aw.
and everyone knew Mary Murtaugh, everyone, just, and I was like, holy shit. And like, somewhere through the meal, I was like, I was having walks of shame past the Cove Diner, and my grandma was probably sitting in the window, like, lives crossing over. But all that to say, like, the gays do make things better, and you are the perfect example of that. And just how multifaceted, like, an artist can be. You sing, you dance, you act, you write songs, you do covers, which you did a cover, like a Beyonce cover, that I absolutely loved. It was like
Thank
If I
you.
Were a Boy,
Thank you.
which strikes differently, and I'm not sure your inspiration behind it, but as a gay man,
Yep.
when I heard that, and it's like, oh, yeah, because like we don't have that option. We have anything about our manlyhood or our gender or whatever is stripped away from us, and we're seen as less than. This is what went in my head when I heard you singing "If I Were a Boy," and it's like,
Mm.
yeah, because if you just saw me as one of you who happens to like Tom, Dick, and Harry, like uh, it was really beautiful. What drew you to that song and to doing that cover? And you did, it was a bit of a mashup, right? Do you remember what I'm talking about?
I do. Oh my God, we're talking, and again, like this is like it's like flooding back to me. And like I think I was 20. I think it was like 20, if I'm not mistaken, when I did that concept. Um, I think I was just thinking about it from like, first of all, I love the song. I thought it was
Hmm.
beautiful. Um, I was still kind of figuring out how to play guitar. Like I was still kind of like working on that. And then I was like, but I wanted to do something that also would get traction too, like on, early days of YouTube now that's coming back. Love that. Um, and I saw a lot of people doing these covers, and I was just like, you know what? Like, I want to do a cover too. And I'm like, I love Beyonce. And I'm like, if I just were to invert that too, then maybe it would work that way. And I think I was just thinking, like, okay, a lot of times with these types of relationships that people have, whether, and like in this instance, it was very easy to see that it could be, in this case, like, girl could be boy instead,
Hmm.
right? And then it would just kind of change the whole context, I guess, if you will. But really, it was mostly just to pay homage to a song that I really enjoyed at the time.
Hmm.
Um, and a funny bit about that is there's this group. I don't know if you know them. They're incredible. Their name is Pamplemousse,
I have.
which is grapefruit in French. Um, they're really great. They did this version of Mr. Sandman that was very, very popular at the time. And I ended up this is early days of YouTube. I had no idea what I was doing, but I ended up like tagging them somehow through by like putting my video attached to them from If I Were a Boy.
Mm.
Well, they were really, really popular, and this is before things like this is when things would just go viral, for like basically no reason. And my video within like I was watching it, my video went from like a couple of hundred views up to like 8,200 within an hour. And I was like, ah. I'm like, it's happening. The thing's happening.
Yeah.
And then I got greedy, Mr. Me, and decided to try to tag my video onto somebody else's video while being tagged on their video, and then got kicked off their video, and then I lost all the traction.
It's a social media is hard to understand, and like how do I
Yeah,
tag, do I do this respectfully? How do I like, do I do 5 videos at once, or do I do one video and let it do its thing? And like people have different ways of doing it, because some people I know just like throw pasta at the wall and wait for whatever to go off, and it's like, you're like, but I want to have substance, I want to have do something I'm really proud of, and I want people to see it, because like why are these videos going viral that are like, why is this going viral? And here I am like pouring my heart and soul, and you don't want to share that? Come on, share that. Like that,
fair.
yeah, exactly. So where's Brady, the busker, the singer-songwriter, uh, now? Like how is music a part of your life? How have you distanced yourself? What's different about music in your life right now?
What's different is that I'm not performing. I have, and it's not because I don't love or adore it, but I've been exploring this period of life right now that I've been in. After working in hospitality for 16 years, and I did work in hospitality when I was here as well. Um, I never went to college. I never went to university, and uh, suffice it to say, I was like, I want to learn something that's challenging. I want to do something that's going to help people. And I did work for this company for a period of time, an insurance company, as a bilingual agent. I was the only anglophone that they hired on the team, which was very cool. Like, because I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh my god, everybody speaks French first, and then I'm the only person, and I'm in the Atlantic provinces too, which like is so, it's kind of unheard of for somebody from PEI to actually speak French.
Hmm.
And I'm still an Anglophone, but I learned it, right? And it really stuck with me, and it got to the point where I can do it professionally now too. Insurance is very tricky. So I was working for 5 different provinces and collective agreements, both in French and English. I moved up pretty quickly in that position, and then moved into moved to another group set of provinces for the French and English. And then I got poached within that team from Toronto, working out of Nova Scotia, and it was an incredible experience. However, I was like, you know what? I can make a lot more money and make more of an impact if I can actually be certified to sell, life and accident and sickness insurance, preferably to those that are currently having pre-existing conditions.
Hmm.
Um, as like I am HIV positive, I've been positive for 7.5 years undetectable, which is great. I've been super healthy and wonderful. Um, I look at that as something that is a giant issue for a lot of folks when they are ill, even with something like, they could have diabetes, like they could have any of these various ailments that can prevent them through the medical exam or leave their premiums super high. So I decided that I wanted to go into the certification program. So I've been doing school. Recently, just got a really wonderful position, which I'm so excited about. So I'll have that to kind of assist me while I'm still doing my certification. But I'll be able to sell all across Canada, including Quebec as well, which is very rare, um, just because Quebec has a very different set of laws. So um, that's where I'm at now. Everything is just art. Like I just
Hmm.
paint and I renovate and I destroy and I rebuild, and I feel like that's my artistic outlet for these days.
Yeah, that's wonderful. And do you see in the future coming back to performing? Would there be something specific like a role in theater that like I would come back for this? Or do you see yourself like in the future just picking up a guitar and being like, you know what? I have my full-time job, I have my benefits from that, and maybe I'll do Tune In Tuesdays for myself, not to
Yeah.
be known, but to for myself and to make a community. Is there something like that in the future?
I think so. Yeah, I always say that we always do end up coming back to performing, and I think my favorite quote that best describes this is that if you're not worried, which is another thing, like if you're not worried about performing, if you're not nervous, then maybe it's time to take a step back.
Hmm.
And I think that that's where I kind of got to at one point, and there was so much personal stuff going on too. There was a lot attached to it, but like I think that when I'm ready, I think when I'm thinking about it, people always, even here on the island, they're like, I never see you anymore. You're like never around. Like we thought you moved, and you're not singing anymore. Why aren't you singing? We're so sad, sad face. And I've gotten so used to answering that question for them, and it's just that when the time comes or something presents itself, I'm never going to be limited to not
Yeah.
doing it again. Um, but in the meantime, I feel like in the interim, it's just been like I'm cool with not doing it for now, and then we'll see what happens, whatever opportunity waits, right?
Yeah. Revisit that
Yeah,
when the time. Well, that's good to hear because I definitely understand. Especially leaving the place that is New York City and leaving that life behind and getting a taste of calm to really just be like, yeah, I need to like recharge. I need to like figure things, and I just need a new adventure. So I totally understand kind of shifting gears and allowing yourself to heal. Not like New York is inherently traumatic, even though it is, but like to just really
yeah,
just readjust to like life outside of New York because it's such a different type of life. But I am glad
yeah.
to hear that there's still possibilities for the future in
Yeah.
whatever way that looks like because you really are such a beautiful talent, and I consider myself very lucky to like have experienced that and to like have been in the same lineup as you and to really get to see you, like I said a million times this episode, hustle and really
Thank you.
in making your art available for other people and making yourself known. Like really, the joy you bring into people's lives is not forgotten, and it is not unnoticed. So I want to
Thank
thank you
you.
for that. Um, With all that going on, I know we're not performing right now, but are there ways people can follow you, support you, see what projects you're working on in the backyard or paintings you're doing? Like,
Yeah.
because it is pretty amazing.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I mean, you could, my name is right there, so you can add me. You can add me on Facebook at Brady Cudmore. I'll gladly add you back. I don't post a lot these days either. I told you, like my little hermit life. Like people really
Hmm.
did think that they're like he just disappeared, and it's like no, he didn't. He fell in love with his apartment, and he just doesn't want to leave. Like I mean,
And
I still work out, I still do stuff, but
it's nice to have things for yourself. Uh,
yeah.
especially when we're like, oh, look at me, I'm singing here, come support me, which is what we need to do. But also like it's nice to hold things like this is just for me. This is just for me. So, and if you feel so inclined to add him on Facebook, please do. And when he does post, it's beautiful. You can also probably send him a message, be like, "Hey, any updates in the garden?" And he'll send you a picture. He sent me pictures of his apartment, and it's really amazing the
Absolutely.
stuff that he's done. Um, so before we go,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that we, being game, adjusting to my time failure, and staying so long, this might be another two-parter episode, like we did with Josh. Um, is there someone in your career as a performer, in your career in hospitality, anywhere in your life, who has made a tough shift a little more uh, easy or a little easier for you that you would like to shout out and just say thank you and dedicate this show to them today?
Absolutely. Uh, DeAndre Statham, my little wonderful, beautiful angel friend. We worked together at Julius, and there was so much of a beautiful friendship that we had. And he always kept me safe too. I mean, I'd be going home at like 4:30 at night, and he would always walk me to the train. Like he was such a great person. I still love talking to him. Like I get to talk to him like once in a while, but
Hmm.
yeah, I love you, buddy.
Oh, well, DeAndre, there you have it. Thank you for all that you do, not just for Brady, but I'm sure for all the people around you to make these tough shifts a little easier. Clearly, the world needs more people like you, but this episode is just for you. This has been another episode of Tough Shift. And just remember that tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life. Take care. Tough Shift was created and hosted by Sean Patrick Murtagh. It was recorded on Riverside and distributed with Buzzsprout. Don't forget to leave us a 5-star review and maybe a comment or two. And remember, tough shifts build character, and character is what brings your story to life.